Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our new hour-long Krem2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. We begin this evening, though, with some shocking news out of Afghanistan. The Pentagon says an airstrike in Kabul killed as many as 10 Afghan civilians, not the ISIS terrorists responsible for the bombing that killed more than a dozen U.S. soldiers and Marines last month. As many as 7 children were among those mistaken casualties. The Pentagon held a press conference today. The U.S. Marine Corps general apologized and called the airstrike a mistake.
We are exploring the possibility of ex gratia payments. And I'll finish by saying that while the team conducted the strike, did so in the honest belief that they were preventing an imminent attack on our forces and civilian evacuees, we now understand that to be incorrect.
That airstrike happened at the end of August. General McKenzie said they are now investigating to find out exactly what happened, but no names have been released for personnel reasons. Of course, we'll keep you updated as more information does become available.
Also developing this afternoon, it's looking like the general public won't be getting a COVID booster shot anytime soon. An FDA advisory panel rejected Pfizer's request for COVID booster shots for Americans 16 years and older. The panel wants to see more data before recommending a booster to that younger group. But they did vote unanimously to recommend the vaccine for people 65 and older, and also those who are of high risk.
I think people who are vulnerable, people who are older, people with chronic diseases, immunocompromised, they would benefit from a third shot. I think that it is necessary for that group. For young and healthy people, I am far less convinced that we need that third shot.
Some folks on the FDA panel also questioned whether it's more important to concentrate on the unvaccinated before giving third shots to already vaccinated people. Well, more than 660,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus. Today, an exhibit on the National Mall brought attention to that fact with more than 665,000 flags in the ground, all representing the lives lost so far to COVID.
Visitors can now see that installation. They can even personalize one of the small white flags in honor of a lost loved one. The exhibit is called In America Remember, and it will be on display through October. And we continue to see the ripple effects from the latest surge of COVID-19 cases. Hospitals are now pausing elective surgeries in order to free up staff and beds for COVID patients. And that includes reconstructive surgeries for breast cancer treatment. Earlier this week, Providence announced it was canceling all non-emergency surgeries. Today, we're continuing to hear from people who are being impacted by that decision. One of them is Donna Julik. She had a mastectomy last week. She is now desperately waiting for her reconstructive surgery. The Well-Pinit teacher expected to spend the next several weeks recovering from that surgery, but because it's not life-threatening, it is considered an elective surgery that will have to wait now indefinitely. She told Krem2's Amanda Rowley how difficult it has been waiting to finish her treatment.
It's frustrating because in my mind, cancer's bad and you want it to go away right now. And it's always been that way, you know. Hurry up and get that taken care of, and then we'll be done with it. And so to wait, it's a little nerve-wracking because I'm okay, but I sure don't want to go through any chemo or radiation. I think that's harder than the mastectomy.
So tonight on Krem2 News at 5, we'll share why Donna wants the community now to hear her story.
So when COVID-19 shut down the country, some medical care was also put on pause. Routine cancer screenings have since picked back up, but still haven't reached pre-pandemic levels. Matter of fact, a new survey from the Prevent Cancer Foundation shows that 90% of women are visiting friends and going out to eat during the pandemic, but only 48% are actually visiting their doctor's offices. Doctors are encouraging people to get back to their medical care routine soon.
We know that there are many, many patients out there right now with undiagnosed breast cancers, cervical cancers, and also colon, prostate, lung, other types of cancers.
During the first months of the pandemic, hospitals in the U.S. reported a decline in patients being treated for heart attacks and stroke. Doctors say that was due in part to the increased strain on health systems and patients' fear of contracting COVID.
And as hospitals across the region struggle with sick COVID patients and staffing shortages, one hospital worker is speaking up.
Yeah, he believes that many of the issues with staffing were already in place and that the pandemic just magnified them. He spoke with Krem2's Joshua Robinson.
We all want to do the best we can, but we're not machines.
Derek Roybal, a cardiac cath lab tech at Sacred Heart, has been actively involved in hospital negotiations with Sacred Heart over the past 5 years. But it's different now, he says, and has been since the start of the pandemic.
I thought that we kind of had it figured out. I thought we had protocols, they know what they're doing. They're taking care of us. I've kind of come to realize they're winging it. They're winging it just as bad as everybody else is.
During the same week that multiple state nurses unions have said current staff shortages could lead to a collapse of Washington's healthcare system, Roybal says staffing shortages were already an issue 2 years ago.
COVID, all it did was put a magnification on this and exacerbate it to where now people are so burnt out that they would rather go wait table. I waited tables at bartending. It's way easier of a job. You can make a good living doing that. And they don't get the stress or the fear that they might take COVID home and kill your mother, your father, your grandparents.
And right now, Roybal says there are nearly 36 spots open at Sacred Heart. And while he hasn't seen his coworkers jumping ship en masse yet, he does see the cracks starting to show themselves more and more. And as hospitals, not just locally, but across the country, continue to deal with staffing shortages and overflooded ICU rooms, Roybal believes the healthcare system should invest more in its own people.
We need the help. We need people there. And you need to take care of those people there. If somebody works 12, 14, 18 hours, let them go home and get rest. And hopefully they can realize the expenditure they put on the outside can kind of help them pay their bills. This is a great job. There's jobs out there that you can raise a family, you can buy a house. I think we need to return to that because we don't want to turn this into some sort of minimum wage job where you're just fighting for your life.
Joshua Robinson, Krem2 News.
And we did reach out to Providence Sacred Heart for its response to these claims of ongoing staffing shortages and concerns. We'll have their response coming up tonight on Krem2 News at 5. In the meantime, we know this has been a lot of information. As always, for the latest, you can just text the word COVID to 509-448-2000. We'll send the links with information straight to your phone. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's say, yay, we made it to Friday.
We did.
It's been a long week.
To be honest with you, on Tuesday, I was worried.
I was actually ready for Friday on Tuesday. I agree. But here we are. Yes.
Thank goodness.
We're grateful, but we know this is going to be a rainy weekend.
It is. It really is. And we need the rain.
Yeah.
It's going to rain on a lot of the fires around the inland Northwest or the whole Pacific Northwest. So let's take that, okay? Matter of fact, flash flood watch in effect through Saturday afternoon. That's in the Okanagan Highlands. We think the northern Cascades and the east slopes are just going to get dumped on. And that water is going to drain into much of that Okanagan area up there. So, and there's also going to get some pretty stormy weather there too. So again, we've got that flash flood watch in effect for north central Washington. 66 degrees right now, cloudy skies, wind is out of the south-southwest at 7 miles per hour. It will get windier over the weekend. Some light rain just now beginning to move into the area. You can see the rain to the west of us and to the north of us. This is a little bit ahead schedule. I thought it was going to arrive about 6 o'clock tonight when we were running the future tracker model last night. But hey, there it is, and it's going to stick around. We'll look for that developing rain at times overnight with a low of 53. Rain heavy at times on your Saturday and a daytime high of 64. For Sunday, I'm calling for a daytime high of 61. We'll have more rain with a chance of even some thunderstorms. We'll check the rest of your forecast coming up in a few minutes. Sounds good, Tom. Thanks very much. And still to come tonight, high school football across the area. Tonight's the night for them to start playing under new outdoor mask guidelines. We're going to be live from the field with Gonzaga Prep's head coach to talk about what's in store for their game. We'll be back after the break.